Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Talking Shop. We're here with Andrew Goldberg, who has probably the largest Michael Jordan ticket collection, definitely the most unique. Andrew, how are you?
Doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing amazing. Thank you for being here. So you were telling me right before we came on, uh, you became this sort of angle that the media used to talk about Michael Jordan and The Last Dance without just talking about his career. And that's because of your ticket collection. How did your ticket collection begin and why so niche, but put so much effort into it?
It started back when I was in grade school. My father was a season ticket holder of the Chicago Bulls for nearly 25 years, sharing some seats with a couple of his good friends. And it was a treat if I got to go to, let's say, 4 or 5 games a year. And after a while, I started to keep the tickets, just thinking, this guy seems to be pretty special, especially when it got to, let's say, the 87-88 season, where he just kind of broke out as winning MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star Game MVP, Slam Dunk champion. Maybe he led the league in steals. It was just nuts. And at that point, he had also led the league in scoring for maybe his third or fourth time. And I just thought to myself, if this guy keeps going, and keep in mind, at this point, he had not won a championship yet, but if this guy keeps going, maybe he'll be talked about in the same way people talk about Babe Ruth. And who knew that years later it actually would be that the case. And I just started holding on to those tickets. So I had about 60 or so, and it wasn't until about 6 or 7 years ago that I said to myself, you know what, I've got this crazy idea. I'm going to try to get a ticket stub from every game from the 95-96 season, the 72-10 year. And this was right as it, ironically, as it turned out, that when the Warriors got their 73-9 season.
Right.
Of course, we're all on pins and needles, don't win the championship, right? If you're a Bulls fan. And then as I was looking for the tickets, I just saw that people were grouping a lot of the other years together. And I just thought, okay, this is crazy. My wife's going to kill me, but I'm going to try and get a ticket from every game he played in.
And how close are you to that goal now?
So the total ticket count that's possible is 1,264 games. And that includes all the regular season Bulls, the playoff Bulls, regular season Wizards, and then I'm counting in their 13 All-Star appearances. Some people won't count the All-Star appearances because they're not official regular season stats, obviously, but that's in that total. So I just this past year crossed the 1,000 mark. So I have just over 1,000 unique games. And so I feel like I'm getting in striking distance, but I do expect the process to slow down a bit now
Right.
as I try to get near the finish line as close as I can.
What's the number one ticket that you're missing that you want to get?
Oh, it's the debut.
That's one of the ones you're
And
missing.
that just be
Yeah.
yeah, that became a lot harder in recent months.
I've seen. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. What are the three most valuable Michael Jordan tickets? Top three.
I mean, if you've been following tickets, one of the things you'll notice is that the prices are just all over the place. And it doesn't have the same population as cards, where you can almost see it as regulated because
Right.
you could have so many comps to compare to. And so with tickets, you might get two of the same tickets sell within a month, but one is raw and one is graded 3. So how do you really judge what the value is? Now I have a small stack of tickets here, so
Yeah,
I'll
for
just share
sure.
a few
Yeah.
that I think probably have to be worth something. I don't know what exactly, because again, there aren't a lot of comps. So this one I think is really cool. So you've got the debut, which was October 26th, 1984, against the Washington Bullets. Well, a week before that, October 19th, 1984, against the Kansas City Kings, before they moved to Sacramento, he had his first preseason game in Chicago. Not his first preseason game ever, because there were a lot of out of town out of Chicago games, but his first one in Chicago at the Chicago Stadium. And I think that's pretty cool because it's his Chicago Stadium, his Chicago debut, the first time
Right.
people in Chicago could see this guy play. And so I have this full ticket
Wow. Looks
from
nice
that
too.
game.
The color's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, the color's great, and it's graded a 6. And
Which
I
is
think
good.
if you were to look at the pop report on PSA, there are either 2 or 3 of these. Just whether, no matter the grade, there's just 2 or 3 of these that they have seen. So that's pretty rare, right? Uh,
Very.
how much is that worth? I don't know. I've never seen one sell in a public platform.
Would you ever sell these? Is that the goal when you reach the goal of collecting every game, sell it as a lot, or what do you want to do?
At the moment, the goal is I'm not thinking sell. I'm thinking collect. I'm thinking complete. And when I do complete, my goal is to approach both the United Center as well as the Hall of Fame to see if they'd be interested in having some sort of public exhibition of the complete collection.
That would be very cool.
And because there's probably a good, arguably 100 games in there that have a cool story behind them.
You should
And
include the Smithsonian museums in that allotment.
okay, I appreciate that advice. uh, anyway, that's the intention. Now, if someone came to me and said, "Here's some can't refuse money," is it possible? I can't say I wouldn't have a discussion, but at the moment, that's not the intention. The intention is, dating back to 6 or 7 years ago, the values of these tickets were not what they are today.
Right.
I couldn't have imagined 6 or 7 years ago that this would be the values today. So the idea of having something very valuable wasn't on my mind with the original intent of this collection.
Now, what are some of your other favorite tickets in your collection?
Another one that's again, I think this is pretty unique and rare, is we have the 1998 Game 6 of the NBA Finals, where Jordan won his final championship, his 6th championship with the Bulls, his last game as a Chicago Bull. Now, I haven't looked at the pop report recently, but there may be 50 to 60 of these that PSA has seen. There are 2 or 3 that are signed by Michael Jordan, and this is one of them.
Wow.
Now, some people don't like the fact that it's a pen signature instead of a Sharpie, but I don't know if you can see it, but the auto is graded a Gem Mint 10.
It's pretty insane.
Which is pretty cool, I think.
I've only ever seen one other. That's insane.
Yeah, one sold recently somewhere, I can't remember, and the auto was not a 10. It was something less than that.
Yeah,
but
buddy,
anyway,
Jason, I don't know if you know him, but Jason Kuntz, OTS Sports, he's
oh yeah,
the one who got that one.
It's a great one.
The fact that yours is a 10 is insane. I mean, I collect 10 for like historical stuff, but to have a 10 on a ticket that rare of something that meaningful in sports it's pretty special.
Now, another one that's kind of cool is the game right before, like Game 5, was Michael Jordan's last game in Chicago as a Bull. So we saw this one, which is his first game in Chicago as a Bull, right?
Yeah.
And so as a bookmark, this is his last game in Chicago as a Bull.
What a
which I think is
ticket too.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So I think that this is probably an underappreciated game, an underappreciated ticket, but I think it's very cool because, again, it's the last time that most all the season ticket holders, saw him in Chicago as a Bull.
Last question on that Game 6 signed ticket. Did you buy it signed or did you get it signed?
I bought it signed. I've been really hesitant to buy anything that's not authenticated with a signature unless I got it signed myself, which I haven't done a lot of. There's, as I'm sure many folks know, there's so many forgeries out there, especially Michael Jordan's signature is probably one of the most faked signatures out there. And I just don't mess around with it unless it's authenticated.
I'm with you there. I'm with you
Yeah,
there. Do you have any others by you?
I do. Let's see here. Well, this one's pretty cool, partially because I went to this, and I don't know if there's a ton of value on it, but it's a beautiful ticket. It's very cool. This was Michael Jordan's retirement ceremony in
That's pretty cool.
1994 during his first retirement. And a
He had a
college buddy of
retirement
mine,
ceremony. So in
yes,
1994, after he retired the first time, they held a ceremony after he stopped playing.
correct. It
Whoa, I
was an
didn't even know
event.
that was a thing.
It was, if I remember, yeah, it was a $100 ticket. And my dad said to me, he didn't have any interest in going, but if I would like to go, give me $100 and you can go. And so me and a buddy from college, we drove up from school. We were in school at the time, and we went to this event. And basically it was sort of a retrospective of his career. People showed up. Obviously the team was there, and they put his number in the rafters during that event, and Boys to Men was there, and they sang So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
um and yeah, it was pretty cool. So this one's pretty meaningful because this is actually the ticket. This is my seat. I sat in this one, and this happens to be graded an 8, which is kind of cool. So this will stay in my collection. I don't have any intention of getting rid of that. Now another
Well,
one that also is,
I've watched everything Jordan, and I didn't even know that existed, like that event happened. It was before I was born by a while. It's pretty crazy.
this one's also a pretty cool one. This is a full ticket from the 1992 Dream Team gold medal game.
Geez, that's a good one. Who is that against? Croatia?
This was against Croatia. That's right.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So
Those are
there's so
hard to
many.
find now too. I've been wanting to get
Those,
a dream team ticket for a while, and all I can find is the not dream team from the Olympics after.
yeah, I mean that's what's been so interesting about all this is the value of the ticket market has really taken off over the last, certainly the year of 2021. It's been steadily growing since I've gotten involved about 6 or 7 years ago, but really this past year, I think for all collectibles for sure, but tickets, we've really seen this, and it's been really interesting to watch, and fun for those who have been in, I guess, relatively early on the ticket collecting side.
Now let me ask you this one final question. If I
Yeah.
gave you $100,000 and you could go back to 2016, what tickets are you spending that $100,000 on? Any sport, any player, $100,000, 2016. What are you spending it on?
Um, Based off of what I've seen, I mean, obviously right now we can play the fun time machine game. And if I could, 5 years ago, I'm trying to remember what it was, 2016. I can't remember what a Jordan debut went for, but the last time a red one sold was more than 3 years ago in a public forum, and it sold for about $30,000. So that was in 2018. In 2016, if that was less, I mean, that's something I would consider investing in, knowing the PSA 6 that recently sold that was not a red. There's also the Wayne Gretzky NHL debut that sold this year for $101,000. That would be a good one. I would be searching out like a Jackie Robinson debut, a
Babe
Wilt
Ruth
Chamberlain.
called shot game. That would be pretty cool.
The which one?
The called shot, Babe Ruth.
Oh, the called shot. Yeah, absolutely. That would be a great one. I mean, it's the ones that, from just a pure investment standpoint, it's all the ones that have sold for like a lot of money today. But those are also because there's a reason behind it. There's a great story. Like if you're a sports fan, these are fun. These are fun to have. And what I love about the tickets is that you take a ticket like this, and first of all, you didn't know this event had happened, but for me, this is a memory too. And even if I hadn't gone to this and I might have read about it, learned about it, whatever, there were all these things that happened there. And you wouldn't know it from just looking at the ticket.
Right.
you just wouldn't know. And that's kind of the fun of it for me versus cards, which I have nothing against cards. I
Yeah.
love cards, but they're just a different thing. And what they're not for me is an emotional connection to something. It's more of a treasure hunt that the world can participate in. And these feel just more unique because there was a finite number from that event, and you didn't know what was going to happen before the event happened. Even this one, you didn't know that the Bulls were going to win this game before the game. Now you knew it was
Could
a
have
finals.
easily,
There
I
was
mean, two possessions would have changed the outcome of that, and there would have been a game 7.
exactly. It could have been exactly that. They could have lost. They could have gone to game 7. They could have even lost the whole thing. That's possible. But it didn't happen that way, thankfully, as a Bulls fan.
Yeah.
But
Michael Jordan wasn't going to let that one happen.
he wasn't gonna. No, he was. That's right. He was not gonna let the team lose. That's for sure.
um, yeah, it's pretty wild. The thing that I love about tickets is that there's so much research involved, and this is what our mutual friend Darren Nervell taught me, was just you can find amazing stuff if you're just willing to put in the hours. Like here, I'll show you. I got this probably 2 weeks ago. It's Kobe's first game against rookie Kevin Durant on the Supersonics. 70
Hey,
bucks. 70 bucks. I mean, that, in my opinion, as somebody who grew up watching both of them, that
yep,
is history that I would like to own. And there aren't that many of them.
agreed. And this is another interesting thing that I will say that I've also said that I've also noticed is, and for those who are trying to get into things and trying to understand what's special and what's not, the pop numbers are rare for all tickets across the board when you compare them to sports cards. However, there's a couple notions here that I think need to be dispelled a little bit. One is the idea of a small population for a ticket that's not arguably that important. So someone might take a ticket that might be, they'll find a reason why it's special or something like that, or it's not that special, and just say, oh, but it's pop 1 because it's the only one that's been graded as a 4.
Right.
And it's a nothing game. So the reason that there's a pop 1 is because no one else thought it was important to slab.
Worth paying the
And
money
that's why.
PSA. Right.
Not because it's that rare. It's just because there was only one person who thought, oh, this is a good idea, and
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Oh, for sure.
So that's one. And then the other is this idea of what's a debut. And so I love what you have as a first matchup, and I think that that's what it is. It's a first matchup, but some people will find a way to call that this is the debut matchup, or start using that word. And I think it's overused a lot. I think
agree.
a debut it's your first time basically doing the sport, or it could be the first time with a team, but it's not the first time doing something necessarily. I do agree with the idea of a finals debut, like especially if there's multiple after that. If you only played in one finals, well then so what? You can't call your first game a finals debut.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if somebody's only in one finals, I don't know how collectible they're going to be anyways, though. Like, and then there are other things too that mean a little bit more to me. So I was at this game. This was not my
What's that?
ticket. Do you recognize it?
Well, is it game 1 or is
Oh,
that
Mellow
the 62
62.
point game?
Mellow 62. So I was at that game. I had like a paper ticket though, like printout. I didn't actually have a stub. So I went out, I bought this 25 bucks. I mean, the deals that you get in tickets, if you're willing to put in the work, are better than the deals that you get in other industries. And I love like graded coins and presidential stuff, but
Mhm.
that it has such a recorded history that, look, I can get deals, but it's not the same, and it's not at that low of an entry point. Like my deal for an Abraham Lincoln signed document is I pay 10,000 and I think it's worth double or 15,000, but you don't get this and then you grade it, and if there are none left and somebody else is a big Mellow fan, or you know, there are more things to do with it given the populations and scarcity. So it's exciting on that front. That's what I love about tickets.
And I have a small story about that ticket that you just showed, which
Yeah.
is I sought out that ticket, and what I found was, and this goes back, because what year is that ticket?
2014.
2014. So it was probably around 2016 or so that I was looking for that ticket, because I was looking for his High Point game, and I found it, but I found it with the whole season. And this guy was selling the whole season for, I don't know, $40, or maybe $50 or something like that. And I bought 3 sets.
That's great.
So what I didn't realize until later
Did you
is
get
that
the
the
Giannis
first game,
game? You got the
exactly.
Giannis game. Wow,
So I
that's an
ended up getting
amazing buy.
three, exactly. I ended up getting 3 Giannis debuts
Oh man.
because I was seeking out that ticket that you just showed.
I was doing
And
the math in my head. I'm like 2013, 14, Giannis. That's amazing. Do you still
yeah,
have those?
I I think I have one of them.
They got
So
pretty
right after he
valuable,
won
so
the
I
first
understand.
MVP, I thought, okay, let me get this out there, because I think he's a tremendous player. When I think of all-time greats, he's not there yet for me. Even though he's won back-to-back MVPs, he's just not there for me. So I didn't personally connect with him. So I was like, all right, like I'll take advantage of the moment. He just won MVP. Let me
Right.
get this out there. But I decided to, hold on to one. I think it got graded a 9 or something like that. So I held on to that.
It's a great ticket. Talk about luck too. I do think that there are arbitrages in buying those uh season packs. Like I bought the whole Lakers, what is it? I have like a whole stack of them here of like whatever 41 games from 2017, so Lonzo's rookie year. So every Lonzo rookie home game. But who knows what those other games mean if like, you know, I don't know, somebody random from that year turns into Wilt Chamberlain. You never know.
Look, crazier things have happened, and that's part of the fun. And that's why you try to keep your costs down when you're getting some bulk things, because it could end up being nothing too.
Yeah. The last thing I will say though, the thing that occasionally does bother me about tickets, like you said, people just make stuff up and make words up. They'll be like, this is the first game in this arena after this player retired. And then like they just start mix matching random stuff that makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I'm all for a story, and I think that there are stories to be told, and there's context to be shared. It doesn't is and look, I have a career in communications and marketing, so I completely get the idea of sensationalizing something and making something feel very, very special, and why should this matter to you. I do get, but I do think that there's a line, where you have to, first of all, not, and maybe for me, I just see it right away. So I just kind of laugh at it and I say,
Right.
okay, good luck with that. But there's going to be somebody who's going to say, oh, okay, that must be very special. I don't know much about tickets, but maybe this whole ticket thing is something I'm going to get that. And so, coming back to a point earlier made is, make sure you're doing your research. And something that I've heard a lot of people say is collect what you love. And, yes, tickets can be an investment, and that's great. But I would say just collect what you know and what you love. And if you don't know it, go do research before you start putting your money into it. You might get lucky and be just fine. I've certainly made some little micro missteps here and there about, oh, I'm going to go try this thing, whether it's some tickets or something else. And I'll say, like, yeah, okay, I just didn't know enough about that. I got the wrong thing. you know, and it
Definitely
happens.
definitely everybody's got to be careful, but collecting what you love, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong if it makes you happy. So with that said, Andrew, thank you so much for hopping on and talking and showing off some of the great tickets.
This has been great. A lot of fun, and thanks for having me on.
So where can people find you best if they want to follow your ticket journey?
Oh, the best is on Instagram, which is my handle is Michael Jordan Tickets. Pretty straightforward.
There we go. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.